Coming up on the Blerd Breakdown, this is the biggest Diddy or didn't he that I have ever done. Jay-Z has now found his 100th problem. He is also being sued by a young woman who claims that she was assaulted by him and Diddy. As well as we talk about the United Healthcare assassin. He has been arrested and charged with murder. Finally, it's my birthday today, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what was going on with me last week and how everything went, and what I've got coming up next for myself and for the channel. Stay tuned, man. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Blerd Breakdown. I'm Winston A. Marshall, and this is the pop culture show for when you need to know, see what happened was. Now, if this is your first time here, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and be sure to leave a comment on the video, man. Let me know what you were thinking about the whole thing. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the video, it is my birthday. So before I jump directly into the news stories, I just wanted to kind of give you a little update. A lot of you know that last week, I was a little quiet on the channel. I did have some videos put up. I know some people got a little confused on older stories or were even frustrated because they felt like I was reporting specifically on things that have already been debunked or anything else like that. For those of you that didn't look, I actually put a post here on YouTube because they allow for like social media posts and stuff like that, where I just let you know that I've been having a family member who's been very sick. I mentioned it was my sister. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of which one, but either way, she had to have pretty major surgery with fear that she may potentially be dealing with cancer. I can say, as much as I know that it's okay to share, that the surgery was successful, that she is recovering at home now, but now we have to wait and see as she recovers. We got to run a number of tests and kind of see what goes on next. That being said, man, I'm really tired. I am really tired, as any brother would be. And, you know, I spent a lot of time at the hospital. I stayed with my sister. We were all kind of taking shifts, so I stayed with her overnight a number of times, getting very little sleep out of just nervousness and fear and all that kind of stuff. Exceptionally grateful that the surgery went off without a hitch, but like just some of the things that were going on, and I know it got buried in the news. The hospital that she was actually being helped at was hacked and being held hostage for $10 million. So they didn't even have computer systems. So there was this whole situation of trying to get help and stuff like that. And I'm grateful that, you know, my sister has good insurance and things like that, that we were able to kind of get through that. But the waits for folks, because this ended up being an emergency surgery. It was supposed to be on the books for later in the week. And it got pushed up because of how intense things got. If it wasn't for, a doctor advocating for her and things like that, it really would have been an issue. I've been doing a lot of video essays, or I haven't been. I've been trying to for a while, and I think I might end up doing one specifically about, Black women and Black folk and doctors. I know a lot of you have already heard the whole adage, but one of the things that was incredibly frustrating at times was this idea and this fear that my sister wasn't going to be taken seriously about things, and the amount of yelling and getting in people's faces to actually get certain things done to try and help her was ridiculous. There is no reason that it should have ever have come to any of that, and that was part of where a lot of the exhaustion came from, was this idea that we had to force people to take her seriously, and it is a massive problem. It is a massive problem in this country. And to be honest with you, the second story that I'll be talking about, the Luigi Mangione, the United Healthcare CEO assassin, where a lot of that frustration for so many people can come from, because our healthcare system in America is genuinely broken. It is broken, and people that just got elected have made promises to actually make it worse. That, one of Trump's main things is saying he's getting rid of the Affordable Care Act, getting rid of Obamacare. And when asked what the replacement was, all he said concepts of a plan. So I get very impassioned and very angry when I see healthcare stuff get kind of out of control. And so I think it's something that I'll definitely want to talk about in the future. So keep an eye out for that. I obviously love to cover all the nerd stuff and the pop culture stuff, but I like to have those philosophical, those political discussions with you. I just will typically put them in a separate video. So for those that's not your flavor, it is what it is. But also understand that's the things I'm going to talk about on this channel. So all that being said, I want to thank each and everybody that has been patient this past week. Again, watching clips to support the channel. I want to thank anybody that has sent well wishes over. It has meant the world, just because my family has been exhausted. And I'm so grateful that the surgery was a success, but we have just started a long path. And as my sister feels comfortable with certain things being discussed, I will share more of that. But again, all I ask for at this particular time is to continue to put out those well wishes, and to continue to say those prayers if you're religious, meditate on it, send the good energy, whatever it is that you do in your life to kind of put a positive force out there. I thank each and every one of you for sending that energy to me and my family. Thank you very, very much. Second point to talk about quickly is that today, if you're watching this, the day this premieres is my birthday. I am turning, 37 years old today, which is kind of nuts. It's amazing how time will fly on you. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting on a lot of the stuff kind of going on in my life. And I, first of all, again, want to thank each and every one of you that have been so supportive over all the years and stuff like that, whether it be through the Schmodown or with anything I've done on TV or with any of the interviews that I've done. You've seen me on Black Tree, you've seen me all over the place, Blerd's in the Hood, just this channel, whatever it is. I am so grateful for each and every one of you that have put your time, your energy, your effort into watching me, supporting me, the content I'm putting out, things like that. And I am so thankful for what that has, what this journey has been. Next year, what I'm trying to do, because I know that I am going to be kind of transitioning throughout my career. I'm not leaving acting. I'm not leaving hosting and things like that. But, as I'm getting closer to, proposing and getting married and starting a family, I need to make sure that I have certain things locked down. So there will be more of a consistent schedule, but I just don't know how often it will be. It'll probably be maybe only 2 videos a week, something like that, until maybe some more space opens up. But I want to make something just consistent for you so that we can have that contract together. I feel like a lot of times I'm trying to do so much and my ADHD be having me bouncing all over the walls that I don't get to give you the full intent that you all deserve. And I'm also I'm not being fair to myself, where I'm getting the proper rest and enjoying life the way that I should. I want to continue to build this, and hopefully one day this is like, if I'm not on some TV show, that this is what I'm doing all the time. I would love to do that with y'all. But obviously, as we're still building it up, I need to be fair to the people in my life. I need to be fair to you, and I need to be fair to myself. So one of my big things at turning 37 and moving on with that life is just that, is having a game plan, pushing stuff forward and all that stuff. And that means a lot of cool stuff. I didn't get to shoot my short film quite yet, but I'm excited that I'm getting that back on the table and getting that set. And hopefully we begin shooting early next year. I'm very excited to be doing reactions. You see people watching all sorts of stuff and recording and editing that. And shout out to a number of people that have offered to help me out. I'll be reaching out to you very shortly to kind of help me out with stuff like that. And then other than that, I'll keep reviews and stuff like that, but it probably will be, depending on timing, it might just be me doing a season as a whole instead of episode by episode breakdowns, just because, again, timing. If this is popping off and we're doing good views and money and stuff off that, then that will allow me to say, hey, we'll do episode by episode. But if not, then it'll be like, all right, cool. I'll do, a Blerd breakdown, and then I'll either do a video essay, or here is all of, X-Men 97 season 2 as like a talk back, things like that. But that's it. I want my life going forward, and I want this channel going forward to be a place that you can come at any point in time. You'll know when the videos will be here, and that we can continue to grow as a community, man. And that's the ultimate goal here. Again, I'm not leaving Blerd Breakdown. Well, obviously, I'm not leaving Capes and Cows. I'm not leaving Game Time, anything like that. I just am making sure that my next steps in my next station is directed in a way that I want it. So that's it. I wanted to just kind of get that off my chest off the gate, man. So be sure to stay tuned through the rest of the year. I'm going to do a number of other videos, obviously Blerd Breakdowns, but I'll do some, my top movies of the year, my top shows of the year, things like that, top news reports, because Lord, there was some wild shit that was popping off this year. We'll get all of that as we close the year out, and then starting in the new year in 2025 for my 37th, I guess technically 38th year, because I've lived for 37. We'll have like more of a schedule and all that stuff. So thank you again for rocking with me. I appreciate it. But let's get to the real reason why you're here. Two massive stories that have popped off. Again, this is going to be a relatively shorter episode. Now that we've done the personal check-in, we've just got these two stories, and then next week we'll look to getting a little bit more, as well as the other stuff I was talking about. So let's get into it, man. Okay, this is probably the craziest Diddy or Didn't that I have done. Jay-Z's 100th Problem is finally here. For those that are familiar with the song 99 Problems, he has been accused of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old back in 2000 with Sean Diddy Combs. The anonymous accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, this is NBC News' initial report and then TMZ's follow-up. The anonymous accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, said the assault happened after she was driven to an MTV Video Music Awards after party. The federal lawsuit was originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Combs as a defendant. It was refiled Sunday to include Carter. Texas-based attorney Tony Busby, who filed the suit, did not comment. Carter called the allegations idiotic in a lengthy statement Sunday evening and alleged that Busby was engaging in unprofessional behavior. And here's the full statement. My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion, so no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These allegations, these alleged victims would deserve real justice if that was the case. This lawyer, who I have done a little bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor, and you have neither honor nor dignity. God damn. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit down with our children, sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these crimes and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure at such a young age. It is unfair to have to try and understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to the true victims in the world. We have to watch how their life story is dressed and costumed for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You've made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the Project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake psychics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am. Whew. A spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York declined to comment on whether the office is pursuing the case when shown NBC News poured out the lawsuit. Busby has filed several lawsuits in recent months. We've talked about a lot of them here on the show, so if you want to know more about them, please check out the playlist for all of Diddy or Didn't He. Accusing Combs of assault and essay. You know what I'm trying to keep this monetized. This is the first suit in which he has named another high-profile defendant. In a statement, legal representatives for Combs called the suit shameless publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about them, just as lies have been spread about Mr. Combs. As the legal team has said before, Mr. Combs has full confidence in the facts and integrity of the judicial process. In court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs has never SA'd or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor, the statement read. Federal prosecutors in New York criminally charged Combs in September with racketeering, sex trafficking, and other offenses, and he is behind bars at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center after he was denied bail for a third time last month. His trial is scheduled for May 5th. Prosecutors said in a court hearing last month that they are in the process of potentially bringing more charges against Combs in a superseding indictment. Before the lawsuit was filed Sunday, Carter received a letter from plaintiff's counsel requesting a mediation to solve this matter. Busby wrote in the suit, in response to the letter, which NBC News has seen, Carter filed his own lawsuit against the accuser's attorneys, Busby wrote in the suit. You have made a terrible error. We've read that part already. The lawsuit claims that in 2000, when Doe was 13, Carter and Combs her at a house party after the MTV Video Music Awards in New York. Lawsuit says a friend dropped her off at the VMAs at Radio City Music Hall. She did not have a ticket, and she approached various limousine drivers to try and gain access to the show or an after party. One driver, the lawsuit says, told her that he worked for Combs and that she fit what Diddy was looking for. He invited her to a party after the show and told her to return to his car later in the evening after he transported Carter and Combs, the suit says. Later, the driver picked her up, the suit says, and after 20 minutes, they arrived at a white house with a U-shaped driveway, the suit says. She had to sign a document which she believes was a non-disclosure agreement on arrival and did not receive a copy to enter the party, which the suit says was filled with celebrities and people doing marijuana and booger sugar. Again, trying not to get this demonetized. She was offered a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down, the suit says, and she went into a room to rest. Shortly afterwards, the suit says, Combs and Carter entered the room with Combs saying, "You were ready to party." That's when she alleges Carter removed her clothes, held her down, and assaulted her while Combs and an unnamed female celebrity watched. She says Combs also assaulted her as Carter and the woman looked on. The suit says that she was able to resist being forced to perform oral sex on Combs by hitting him in the neck and that he stopped. After the alleged assault, the suit says she grabbed her clothes and left. She made her way to a gas station where she called her father, it says. The accuser is seeking unspecified damages. The lawsuit is filed under the New York Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act. My only heartbreak... Oh, and there's more of Carter's stuff. All right, there's more to this story, but let's take a minute to step back and talk about what's going on so far. Okay. So, first of all, this is a lot. There's some things about that statement I kind of want to, Jay-Z statement that I kind of want to break down. I mean, first of all, the idea of calling out Tony Busby as a lawyer who, is trying to, exploit people and things like that. We've talked about this a little bit. There have been actually a couple of suits levied against Tony, not just from people that, like Jay-Z or Diddy that are, countersuing. They're actually people that were represented by Tony where apparently he was not only holding settlement money, but then like charged interest of how much for holding on to it, things like that. Those are stories that I'm going to want to cover a little bit because I think it helps paint the full picture. And I am not saying that this absolves Diddy or Jay-Z of a damn thing. All I'm saying is I think just like anything else, when you're looking at a case, when you're looking at all that stuff, knowing all sides of the story and to see who is real, who is just fighting for their life, who is trying to take advantage of folks, all of that is important to figure all this stuff out. I think one of the most disingenuous things that Jay-Z actually says in this, as was mentioned, the New York Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act, that specifically deals with statute of limitations so that people can do civil suits. They do not extend the statute of limitations for criminal suits. If that is wrong, tell me in the comments and let me know. But everything that I have understood from that specifically is that is specific to extend the statute of limitations temporarily for folks to be able to get some sort of justice for what happened to them. That's why Cassie's lawsuit went through. That's why a lot of these lawsuits went through against Diddy. And that's part of why there's this idea of, oh, is this just one giant cash grab? Is this one giant, smear campaign? Things like that. Like that is what is kind of being talked about in that. So it's disingenuous for Jay-Z to be like, oh, well, if that's the case, why not make it criminal? Because you literally can't. Because it's been 24 years and that is not, the statutes of those limitations are gone. So that is not a thing. So stop that nonsense. Some of the other stuff to like call on Brooklyn and things like that, I get what you're like attempting to say of, hey, went through it rough, the code that like people down there, sure, but I don't know if any of that all of a sudden, no, it's not I don't know. That doesn't preclude that if you did some stupid shit like this, if you did some heinous shit like this, that, oh, just because you're from Brooklyn, you're whatever. Like, no, absolutely the fuck not. You know what I'm saying? This needs to the evidence needs to come out and things need to move forward, and we need to see where all of this goes. Same thing I've been saying about all of these. But I think some of the things that people have pointed out, rightfully so, ever since this was announced 2 days ago, was that Jay-Z and Diddy have been very good friends for a very long time. They have been seen in a lot of the same circles. It's the New York Connect, the New York Rapper Connect, all that kind of stuff. The fact that they're both billionaires and did it through hip hop. Like Diddy is one of the few people that apparently can call Jay-Z by his first like legal name of Sean Carter. So like these are that's the thing. Again, all allegedly, we got to see how this plays out, but there is something about the adage of birds of a feather flock together. It's one thing if it was like, oh shit, like the homie got caught up in something this one time, still horrible, still need to call your friends out, still need to do all sorts, but like this is clearly, with all of these allegations, including the RICO charges, this is a career-long criminal that has been doing horrible things to people, allegedly. So that being said, this idea that you remain friends with somebody that apparently it's an open secret that they have been doing this, people are going to start ask questions of like, so when were you involved? How much were you doing? It's the same reason why whenever you see a scenario, you know, with a kid that's troubled and ends up like hurting or killing people, that people are like, hey, you're the parents. How you not know what's going on with your kid? You knew they were being bullied. You gave him a gun, things like that. In this case, you knew who Diddy was based, again, off of what everybody in the industry knows is an open secret, and you remained friends with him, and you remained going to parties with him and things like that. So there's a lot here that we really need to just be like, Jesus, and see where this all goes, man. The other thing that someone brought up that I think should be called out, I hear what you're saying, and if you truly are innocent about, like, great, now I got to explain this to my kids and stuff like that, but to try and use Beyonce and Blue in your statement, I get it, but that feels like, stick to it between you and this lawyer. If really you're being scammed, doing that, trying to get a sympathy kind of vote for talking about that, like, it feels, I don't like the term the ick. I think it's stupid. It gives the fucking ick, if we're just being real. Like, do not bring your child and your wife into this. Please don't. Now, again, all alleged. We need to see what goes on here. But let's continue with the story, because there's actually an additional follow-up that has happened as of yesterday into today. Now, Jay-Z says the woman who's suing him, along with Diddy, for allegedly assaulting her, should be forced to reveal her identity instead of pursuing the case anonymously, TMZ has learned. Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, filed documents Monday morning asking the judge to make the plaintiff reveal herself. In the documents obtained by TMZ, Spiro says fair is fair. It is not consistent with justice, fairness, or the rules governing federal proceedings for the plaintiff and her counsel to smear Jay-Z's good name. Further, the docs state Jay-Z built an impeccable reputation and has never been accused of or engaged in any sexual misconduct. As a report, the Jane Doe accuser first sued Diddy in October, alleging he and another celeb assaulted her at a VMA party when she was 13 in 2000. Then on Sunday, she refiled the suit alleging Jay-Z was the unnamed celeb. Jay has fired back at the allegation, and the woman's attorney, Tony Busby, accusing him of attempting to blackmail him to avoid his name coming out in public. In the new docs, Jay says he refused to give in to the extraordinate demands of Busby and filed a lawsuit against him. What's interesting is Jay filed that suit back in November, but he did it anonymously. So if you guys remember, again, go watch the other Diddy or Didnys. I did talk about an A-list celebrity that was suing Busby. It sounds like these are the same ones, only referring to himself as a high-profile individual who had attended Diddy parties. Jay-Z is now admitting he's the one who filed that suit, and he thinks Busby and the accuser only outed him, adding him as a named defendant when he stood his ground, saying, "Make no mistake, this case is about retaliating against the rare target who would not pay." In the docs, Jay-Z says if the judge won't force the accuser to reveal her identity, he wants the judge to dismiss the case. Okay, so yeah, as far as a lot of this goes, I think part of the issue, especially with Diddy on the front end and why they weren't doing that, is because Diddy has already kind of proven to be untrustworthy, where he's using phone cards and stuff in jail to try and contact his sons, other people's phone privileges to try and intimidate witnesses, things like that. Like that was reported on of things he was doing from jail. So I understand the name not being put out there like that. I have mixed feelings about it, because it is true on the one end, you should be able to know who is suing you one way or the other. But at the same time, who knows? There's been no reports of Jay-Z being violent like that. But again, Diddy is still a part of that suit. and he has already proven to not be trustworthy. So it's like, I'm of the mindset that there has to be some sort of way for proper due process to happen against the defendants and the accused in this civil case, but to protect the accuser. Because, again, we have no idea what Diddy would ultimately be doing with all of this, man. This whole thing is a big mess, and I think the thing that gets really frustrating about it, and I've spoken on this previously, is the fact that, like, we have seen so many black icons kind of just get dragged through the mud. And now that's not saying that, oh, they're innocent and they deserve to not do that. I say that as a black man, where it is heartbreaking to see another person that has been successful and has been an inspiration to a number of people. Like, people brought up the fact that, like, you know, that whole thing would you rather have dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000? First of all, you're a dumbass if you didn't take the fucking money. Jay-Z would have said the same shit. Take the motherfucking money. Like, are you kidding? With $500,000, you could pay somebody to give you some motherfucking advice. Stupid. But I say all that to say that, like, these were the type of stories that was like, they did grow up in a rough neighborhood, rough upbringing, things like that. And to you know, make it and be that successful, those are the stories that people look up to. So to hear that all these people are actually horrible, it is soul crushing. And for it to happen over and over and over again with you know, I mean, I never really liked Diddy, but with Jay-Z and Diddy, with you know, Kanye going off the motherfucking deep end, Jonathan Majors, and again, I've talked about that too. And regardless of how all that went down, the man's name is fully just got a stain on it at this point. Whether or not he makes a bounce back is a different conversation. But to even have to go through that, and I said that at the time, if he's innocent, this sucks because this man's career is in jeopardy. And if he's guilty, this shit sucks because then another person fucking sucks. So it's just like, it is exhausting to feel like people continue to let you down, and it makes you be concerned about where any goodness could even come from to that point, man. And it can come in every form and fashion. The next story we're going to talk about, there's its own level of good, bad, evil across the board, and how people have been talking about stuff, and you know, some people might agree with how I feel about that or not, but you know, we'll get to that. I just say all that to say that this story with Diddy as a whole, hence I'm doing Diddy or Didn't He, but especially now with Jay-Z involved as well, needs to continue to be watched as it unfolds. Everything from the case as it's going through, and obviously once we get to Diddy's RICO charges as well, following that case as it goes. So be sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be covering all of it as it continues to come out. Now let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that Jay-Z did this? Do you think that he didn't do it? Do you think that Busby is trying to take advantage of stuff? Or do you think, you know, things are spot on and the name's getting kind of shooken up? There's an infinite number of possibilities really how this could go, and I want to know your thoughts, man. What I want at the end of the day is whoever is truly in the wrong. If these men did this, they need to pay. They need to pay in every way, shape, or form that they are legally allowed, that we're allowed to get justice for them. And if they didn't, then Busby and whoever else, if they're filing these frivolous suits, need to also face some sort of justice. That's what I want. I want justice for anybody that was actually wronged in this situation, period. I don't care what way it falls. Again, if they did it, they need to be punished. And if they didn't do it, then the people that are levying false allegations need to be punished. But I want to know what you think in the comments. Let me know. Let's go to our final, but also pretty heavy story. So if you haven't heard, Luigi Mangione, the United Healthcare CEO assassin, was arrested and has been charged with murder. And he's also blown up on social media. So this is all going to be TMZ's coverage of the situation. Person of interest, Luigi Mangione, has been detained in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Local police responded after receiving a tip that the person of interest was seen in a McDonald's, and man, when I tell you the memes that came out of that shit had me dying. Absolutely had me dying. Maybe I'll edit one in so you can see it, man, but Jesus Christ. The man had a similar gun as the one used in the murder, sources said. As we know, an unidentified suspect walked up behind Thompson early Wednesday morning last week and fired multiple rounds outside the New York Hilton Midtown Hotel before calmly walking away. Police say the suspect walked into a nearby alley and rode a city bike, e-bicycle to Central Park, where he disappeared. As TMZ has reported, the suspect is believed to have traveled to Manhattan on a bus that originated in Atlanta that made several stops en route to the city. He stayed for several days prior to the shooting at a hostel in Manhattan, being photographed at the front desk in the pics that have been widely distributed. A new picture released this weekend shows a suspect looking directly into the camera inside of a cab. The backpack believed to have been worn by the killer was found Friday in Central Park. Inside the backpack, police found a jacket and fake Monopoly money from the board game. Shell casings found at the scene of the shooting had cryptic words, deny, depose, and defend, an apparent reference to the 2010 book titled Delay, Deny, Defend, which slams the healthcare and insurance sector. And as we now know, Thompson was one of the industry's big wigs. Luigi Mangione's social media presence has also blown up after he was named a person of interest in the fatal shooting of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. As of Monday morning, he had a mere 975 followers on Instagram. His follower account has skyrocketed by the tens of thousands after his identity was revealed to the public. At the time of this recording, Mangione's IG account, which has been inactive since 2021, had just over 61,000 followers, many of whom have declared their attraction for the person of interest. For instance, several people said they'd smash Mangione if given the chance. A similar sentiment was expressed when images of the suspect first surfaced in the days after the shooting. Comments on his various uploads also included messages of appreciation, including one fan who thanked Luigi for sacrificing himself for the better of society. Countless others called for Luigi to be freed, with several people suggesting they start a GoFundMe for his defense fund. In fact, someone already made good on their promise, as a fundraiser has already been kicked off on a crowd-funded site. Mangione's alleged X account has been seen similar uptick, with the follower account going from less than 1,000 to 65,000 plus, and the follows don't seem to be slowing down, though as of this recording, his Twitter account has been suspended. The NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch joined Mayor Adams at a press conference where she shared a McDonald's employee in Altoona had recognized Luigi from previously circulated suspect photos. Tisch said a fake ID firearm with a suppressor enclosed, including a mask similar to the suspects, were found on Mangione's person. He was also in possession of a 2-page manifesto critical of the healthcare industry, according to authorities. And late Monday evening, Luigi Mangione was officially charged with murder, TMZ confirms. According to court records obtained by TMZ, Mangione was hit with the charges late Monday night for allegedly gunning down the CEO in Manhattan. Mangione now faces a slew of charges in New York, including murder, 2 counts of possession of a loaded firearm, possession of a forged instrument, and criminal possession of a weapon. Charges come hours after Mangione appeared in a Pennsylvania court for weapons and forgery offenses. Remember, cops say he had a fake New Jersey driver's license, and we talked about that already. His cousin, Maryland Republican delegate Nino Mangione, who represents parts of Baltimore County, released a statement less than an hour before the New York charges came down. He said the family cannot comment on news reports about Luigi and added they only know what they have read in the media. Nino added, "Our family is shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson, and we ask people to pray for all those involved. We are devastated by this news." Okay, again, I was very busy last week, so I didn't do videos, so nobody's really kind of heard how I would feel about all this. I definitely have mixed feelings. On the one hand, like anything else, I'm never cheering for anybody's death. It's just not everybody feels that way, but I don't. I'm not here for that. At the same time, there's this whole thing about you can only bully, harass, assault, take advantage of, rob people until they finally snap. When I was growing up, I was bullied a lot in middle school. I had a horrible time, was called all sorts of names, shit done to me, whatever. And then one day, I'm very grateful that my snapping just went from a place of me taking one of my main bullies and slamming him into a locker and being like, if you ever fucking touch me again, I will beat the shit out of you. I fortunately was bigger than him, so it was easier to kind of, and then after that, I was not bothered again. Irony of all ironies, he became one of my best friends after that through life. But, he wasn't even necessarily at the center of it, but he just was somebody that was doing it to me the most. But that's like a light example of that going in a particular direction. Most of the people that I've seen that are essentially talking about this and that are going on about calling Luigi a hero one way or the other is because these healthcare systems are extremely fucking corrupt. So Brian Thompson, they love to paint him as just this saint. He was a father. He was this. And yeah, those are true. But let's tell the whole fucking story. He is a CEO for United Healthcare who is known for implementing an AI program that has a 90% error rate and had a 37% rejection for claims for potentially life-saving operations and or procedures. I have somebody close in my life that had a surgery done that's allowing them to breathe better. And they denied it, and they had to essentially get bullied by our doctor's office to do it because it was something that was needed for her. 37%. The lowest end on Kaiser is at 4%, if I remember the numbers correctly. But 37 is fucking absurd. Over a third of the claims are rejected, and this whole idea that he wanted to put out a statement of, oh yeah, we're saving you money. No, bitch, you were fucking making yourself rich, because it also came out in news reports that he had recently found a way to kind of dump stock because of all of this kind of shit to end up pocketing $15 million fucking dollars. What I don't feel is bad for people that legitimately do dirt, and technically you have a situation where because of these rejections, the number of people that have died because their healthcare did not cover them is disgusting. Am I going to celebrate a murderer? No, I'm not. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh man, that was completely shocking and random. That is crazy. And the people that do that, like Ben Shapiro, and wanted to say it'd be a grifter all over again and be like, oh, the left is celebrating a murderous revolution. And it's like, no, dude. People on the left and the right, you can go to his videos and look in the comments. This is one of the few things that we're actually all united on. We are tired of being taken advantage of and allowed to die so that rich people can get fucking richer. Enough of that shit. You know what I'm saying? That is where this anger is coming from everybody. And I think one of the things that's so frustrating is, again, the people that had a tendency to get super, super mad and not even pretend to understand what folks are going through are the haves. So I like watching The View. I've never hidden that, man. As a host, I really appreciate kind of seeing the work that they can kind of do on the fly like that. Sometimes they get really annoying, but for the most part, I really love what the ladies do. I was a little annoyed where I understand that, oh, you're celebrating and making jokes about murder, but don't sit here and act like y'all haven't been at that table, very rich and successful, with plenty of money and plenty of health insurance to cover yourself, whereas so many people can't. And so if you watched your grandmother, you watched your mother, you watched your wife, husband, child die because of a callous fuck so we could get richer and make his buddies richer, of course they're gonna, like, it, if not celebrate, be like, okay, I'm glad he's gone. It's the same reason why people were celebrating when the Queen was gone, because she stood for the symbol of colonization, whether it was stuff that she had a hand in directly herself or what she stood for as a fucking symbol. So we can talk all day about not celebrating death, but what we're not going to do is dismiss people's feelings when they feel like all of a sudden there was some sort of liberation from some stuff like that happening. Now, again, I don't think Luigi's a hero. I'm not subscribing to, but the fact that this happened, I'll be honest with you, that's literally how revolutions happen. You push too goddamn much, and this is how shit ends up going. And again, I think the scariest thing, and why you're seeing government officials and all these other and celebrities talk out about it, is because y'all are the ones with all of the fucking power, and you're terrified that people are going to turn on you. So, like, for example, this pissed me off to all fucking hell, man. So Josh Shapiro's bitch ass, this is the governor of Pennsylvania. He actually was quoted in saying, some attention in this case, especially online, has been deeply disturbing, as some have looked to celebrate instead of condemning this killer. In America, we do not kill people in cold blood to resolve policy differences or express a viewpoint. Hey, Josh, this is Josh Shapiro not a few months ago signing fucking bombs to then go turn around and be dropped. Miss me with that bullshit. This is what we're talking about, and why people are at a standpoint where they really are done with so many politicians, because they will talk out of two sides of their ass. I am not saying that we should be out here celebrating a fucking killer, but don't sit here and act like you did not make a fucking spectacle of signing bombs used to go murder thousands and thousands of people. Okay? Go fuck yourself, bro. Real talk. So with all that being said, man, I just got to say this. I am very curious to see where this all plays out. I think it's kind of weird, to be honest with you, that the dude made this many potential mistakes when everything else seemed that spot on. He was just walking around with his manifesto and the gun after apparently purging some of the stuff for the gun previously in the back. A lot of that seems a little sketch. I'm not going to get into full conspiracy theories, but I do want to see how this shit plays out one way or the other. And I will say this to all those in power, man, around the world, but especially in America, y'all better be motherfucking careful. I'm not saying that as a threat that somebody's like, that people are, but this is literally how revolutions start. If you, one of my favorite quotes that really expresses why you need to treat people like fucking decent human beings. If you treat someone like an animal, do not get surprised if they attack you like one. You have pushed the American people too far. Do not be surprised if folks finally lose it. I am not condoning that, but do not be fucking surprised. Now, I want to know what you think down in the comments yourself, man. What do you think about this whole thing with Luigi? Man, some of the memes had me dying. Some of the people talking about, yo, he can hit me next. I got like one or two like kind of jokes about the whole thing that I'll probably do on Breakfast AM News. It's a little late now since he's now been arrested, and these were pre-arrest jokes, but they were halfway decent. They're nothing too crazy, but it is just kind of I will tell you this much: that McDonald's person ain't about to get that money. I put dollars to donuts on that shit, that they not about to get that money. That's actually one of the jokes that I have. So either way, let me know what you think down in the comments. And with that, that is going to be the Blerd Breakdown. Thank you so much for watching the show. If this is your first time here and you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, throw a like on this video, and again, get in the comments to talk about any and everything. Again, I thank all of you for your well wishes and everything that's going on with my family. One of the things I'm actually really proud about that I did for my birthday, I can share with you. So what I actually did for my birthday party is I actually built these homeless kits. These are kits that I'd be able to keep in my car. And these are for unhoused individuals, basic kind of toiletry stuff, some snacks, some gum. Ran out of granola bars, so they got double Oreos. But then what a lot of people don't think about when they, want to do something to help out, homeless and unhoused individuals is for the ladies, the fact that they're still having periods and things like that. Even just because they're homeless, it doesn't mean that it magically stops. So one of the things we included in the kits were pads and tampons and Advil to help with cramps and things like that. I'm not doing that to brag or nothing. I'm saying that because I would hope what I wanted to do with my birthday was to try and make the world a little bit of a better place. So I went and supported a lot of the groups that were kind of attacked verbally or otherwise during the election. So supporting Black-owned businesses, supporting immigrant businesses, supporting women and things like that, and specifically just supporting the community as a whole and genuinely trying to support those that are less fortunate. I had a rough year, but I was blessed to do that commercial and find some other success. So I wanted to share that back with other people, and I hope you do the same. If you have the time, these are really easy to put together. You can just create some gallon Ziploc bags, put some non-perishable food in there, and then just some basic supplies that could help somebody and just make their day a little bit better. So I'm just sharing that because I do hope that if you have the time that you'll do that with your family as well. It's a fun arts and craft project. We put on some Christmas music and had some drinks while we did it. It was pretty dope. Other than that, come on back. Got some more Blerd Breakdown. Probably I'll wait until next week just because if I can get another one in later this week, I will. But there's a lot of work catch up since I took a lot of time off from work last week, plus holiday party stuff, all like that. Cross your fingers for me. I just turned in a pretty big audition. So hopefully with some birthday magic, I'll book that and be able to shoot that before the end of the year goes. Other than that, go back and check out yesterday's Game Time with Roca. Check me out on Capes and Cows with Christian. Lots of great stuff kind of going and popping off here on the channel. And like I said, I'm going to do my top of the year and stuff like that. Those videos will come out as well. But I just want to say one more time, thank you for making my year so special. I'm really looking forward to riding into the next one, man. Thank you to everybody for the birthday wishes and stuff like that, and the positive energy and the love. And I will see you on the next one. Check out one of these other videos right here. I'm going to get out of here and go enjoy the rest of my motherfucking birthday. All right, y'all. I'll see you on the next one, man. Peace.